Every morning across the 1950s, millions of Americans sat down in their living rooms with a cup of coffee and the daily paper. They placed their faith in the journalists and the anchors who read the evening news. But globally, the post-World War II landscape was fracturing. By 1947, the United States was locked in a deadly ideological standoff with the Soviet Union. The Cold War was escalating, and the battlefield was information. To counter the Soviet threat, President Truman signed the National Security Act, creating the Central Intelligence Agency. The agency's official mandate was strict and clear: gather foreign intelligence to protect national security. Behind closed doors, however, the agency was developing an unwritten mission. They intended to control the political narrative, both abroad and right here at home, by any means available. This diagram illustrates the immediate legal hurdle the agency faced. By law, the United States government cannot run state-sponsored propaganda operations directed at its own citizens. Frank Wisner, director of a covert CIA unit, saw a way around this barrier. He looked at the sprawling, deeply trusted American press corps and saw an unguarded delivery mechanism. Wisner referred to his operation as the mighty Wurlitzer. Much like a massive pipe organ that can fill a room with sound, Wisner believed he could use his network of contacts to fill the entire media ecosystem with the CIA's chosen talking points. The independent press was the cornerstone of American democracy. Intelligence officials, however, viewed it as a highly effective tool for state control. The CIA systematically recruited over 400 American journalists to secretly carry out assignments. These were highly respected reporters and editors stationed at institutions like the New York Times, Time Magazine, and CBS News. This flowchart knocks out exactly how the agency laundered information. Operatives would plant a fabricated story in a European newspaper. An American reporter on the CIA payroll would then pick up that story, effectively washing the propaganda and presenting it to the U.S. public as independent fact. Conversely, aligned editors acted as a kill switch. When factual reports about controversial CIA operations in places like Iran or Guatemala attempted to reach the American public, these editors quietly buried the stories before they could ever see print. These engineered narratives helped build the public support needed for foreign interventions. By popularizing the domino theory through CIA-aligned publications, the press helped sell the justification for the military escalation in Vietnam, a conflict that resulted in 58,000 American casualties. The efficiency of this network was so high that one senior CIA official noted, quote, "One journalist is worth 20 agents." The Daily News had become a curated output, shaped by intelligence officers long before it reached the printing press. This manipulation quickly expanded into culture and the arts. The agency sought to shape literature and cinema to fit their geopolitical goals, targeting the works of prominent writers like George Orwell. In 1954, the critically acclaimed animated adaptation of Orwell's Animal Farm hit theaters. 3/5 of its production budget was secretly provided by the CIA, who even altered the film's ending to ensure a sharper anti-communist message for global audiences. For those who refused to cooperate, the agency used force. In 1963, the CIA actively wiretapped the phone lines of American syndicated columnists Robert Allen and Paul Scott, surveilling them for months. What began as an operation to influence foreign adversaries morphed into an illegal apparatus of domestic surveillance and cultural control, operating directly on American soil. The cracks in the system finally appeared in the early 1970s. Scrappy, independent magazines began exposing secret CIA funding on college campuses, and the Watergate scandal broke open, evaporating the public's remaining trust in their government almost overnight. By 1975, Senator Frank Church chaired a massive congressional investigation into intelligence abuses. His committee revealed that the CIA's media and propaganda programs were costing American taxpayers roughly $265 million every single year. Inside these congressional chambers, an internal document known as the Family Jewels was formally acknowledged. The intelligence community's most sensitive, classified operations were finally laid out for the public to scrutinize. 2 years later, investigative reporter Carl Bernstein published a bombshell exposé in Rolling Stone. Having spent 6 months interviewing former officials, Bernstein explicitly named the high-profile journalists and major television networks who had secretly served as CIA assets. A shadow network, originally justified as a necessary shield against the Soviet threat, had turned its deceptive tactics squarely against the American citizens it was supposed to protect. Facing intense public pressure in 1976, CIA Director George H.W. Bush issued a new directive formally prohibiting the agency from paying accredited American news correspondents. Officially, Operation Mockingbird was shut down, but contemporary political figures point out a crucial distinction. A change in written policy does not guarantee a change in actual practice. Claims persist today that the intelligence apparatus still maintains heavy influence over what the media chooses to report and what it chooses to ignore. While the exact program structure from the 1950s is a matter of historical record, the core vulnerability of our digital, hyper-connected information ecosystem remains fully intact. Operation Mockingbird reveals a sophisticated form of control, influence that succeeds because it is engineered to be indistinguishable from the truth.